You think women hide their desires well? Not really. Spend enough time with one who hasn't had intimacy in a while and you'll notice something. Her eyes hold too long. Her jokes cut with innuendo. Her touches linger. And here's the kicker. If you don't pick it up, she'll quietly label you as clueless. If you overreact, you'll look like a predator. Both ways, you lose. The real danger isn't missing a signal. It's losing your power by not knowing how to read the game. So stay with me, because I'm about to reveal 7 signs a woman hasn't slept with a man in a long time, and how you can recognize them without ever crossing the line. Before we dive deeper, I want you to do something simple. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and answer this quick question in the comments. Yes or no? Have you ever suspected a woman was signaling you, but you weren't sure? Writing it down breaks the ice, and you'll see you're not the only man who's been caught in that confusion. Now stay with me, because the signs I'm about to show you will erase that uncertainty for good. Number 1, the body doesn't lie. You can tell yourself that words matter, but when it comes to desire, the body often betrays what the mouth refuses to say. A woman carries a kind of tension, an energy, and that energy leaks out through the smallest gestures. You won't see a billboard on her forehead. You'll see it in the way she leans into your space, holds your gaze a second longer, or touches her own hair or neck without realizing it. But let me be absolutely clear. These signs don't just mean she's been alone for a while. First and foremost, they are signs of genuine attraction and growing comfort with you. The reason they can become more pronounced when intimacy has been absent is that this natural energy needs an outlet. That's why context is everything. One signal means nothing. The power is in noticing the cluster of behaviors that add up over time. But this is not detective work. If you spend all your energy counting how many times she touches her hair, you'll kill the vibe and miss the real connection. The goal isn't to score signals on a chart. It's to feel the overall shift in energy and stay present with her. Now, a quick reality check. No man handles this perfectly. When you genuinely care, you might get nervous or overthink it. That's human. The goal isn't flawless execution, it's awareness, and that alone puts you miles ahead of most men. So how do you use this? Here's your checklist. Do. Keep your frame steady, shoulders back, posture open. When you're grounded, you can read her signals instead of projecting your own neediness. Don't rush in to touch her back just because she leaned forward once. Don't confuse friendliness with desire. Test softly. If you step back half a pace, does she unconsciously lean closer to close the gap? If she does, you've confirmed her body wants proximity. If she doesn't, you just saved yourself from embarrassment. Remember, a woman's energy will slip out in these unconscious cues. Your job is not to pounce. It's to observe, notice the pattern, and respond wisely. And here's the catch. Once her body starts giving signals, her mouth often follows with a different weapon, humor. Which brings us to the second sign. Number 2, playful provocation. When a woman feels a connection, her words can become a stage play. She'll lace her jokes with hidden meanings, just enough to make you wonder. And here's the key. You're not meant to just laugh and move on. You're meant to react. Humor becomes her testing ground. Think about it. Humor is the safest weapon she can use. If you don't respond, she can dismiss it as just a joke. But if you play along, she knows she has you engaged. That's why you can't underestimate the double-edged comment. It's not harmless, it's strategic. Let me show you with James, a 46-year-old sales manager. He used to chat with his neighbor, a single woman in her 40s. For years, their conversations were simple. Then one day, she dropped a line with a smirk. "It's been forever since anything exciting happened in my evenings." He laughed politely. But then it happened again. Another day. "I should probably get a hobby, or maybe some company at night," said with a chuckle, but her eyes stayed locked on his. He realized this wasn't random humor, it was a probe. She was dangling an invitation behind the mask of laughter, waiting to see if he'd cross that line with her. Here's where most men screw it up. They either jump straight into sleazy banter, killing all respect, or they freeze, pretending they didn't hear it. Both reactions fail. You need to walk the razor's edge. Here's your checklist. Do respond with playfulness that stays grounded. A short, confident remark like, "Careful, that almost sounded like an invitation." You keep it light, but you show you're not oblivious. Don't dive into vulgar territory, and don't ignore it completely. That signals fear. Test softly, change the subject deliberately. If she pulls it back to the same suggestive humor, that's your confirmation. She's not just joking, she's trying to escalate. Provocative humor is her way of cracking the door and saying, "Do you see me?" If you catch it and handle it with calm authority, she feels both seen and safe. And here's the twist. Once the laughter is charged, the body often follows. When the jokes get electric, the hands start searching for excuses to touch. Which brings us to the third sign. Number 3, small touches, big messages. You've probably felt it. A brush of her hand on your arm, a hug that lingers half a second too long. It's easy to dismiss these as just friendly, but when a woman feels comfortable, the body starts to seek connection in whispers, and those whispers often come as touch. Touch is the most primal language we have. For a woman feeling a connection, those light touches aren't just habits. They're her body's way of remembering what it feels like to be close. Caroline, a 42-year-old single mom, shared her story. She met a man regularly at a cafe. Slowly, something shifted. She began touching his forearm when making a point. Her goodbye hugs lasted noticeably longer. One afternoon, her hug lingered past comfort into something more vulnerable. Like she didn't want to let go. Her body was searching for warmth she'd been missing. Here's where you need discipline. Not every touch means desire. Is she touching everyone or just you? Is it a single accident or a pattern building over time? So how should you respond? Do read the environment. Keep your frame steady. If you feel her touch, acknowledge it with calm presence. Don't jerk away nervously. Don't leap to escalation. The fastest way to kill connection is to act like every brush of contact is an invitation. Test softly. Pause before returning the touch. If she seeks out contact again, leans closer, lets her hand graze yours, it's a strong sign she's signaling comfort and interest. Small touches reveal big needs. They're not declarations, but they're not accidents either. Not when repeated. And here's the pivot. Once the body gets comfortable with touch, the mouth follows with deeper confessions. That takes us to the fourth sign. Number 4, from small talk to soul talk. Every man has been in this situation. You start with casual conversation, and suddenly she's telling you about her past relationships, her loneliness, or the things she misses about being with someone. When a woman does this, it isn't random. It's her way of opening a window into her inner world, to test if you can handle the depth she's carrying. Psychology explains it like this. People search for emotional closeness. By letting you into that private space, she's signaling trust and, often, an unmet need for connection. Laura, a 50-year-old teacher, described her own pattern. At reunions, she found herself steering conversations toward her past. One night, she admitted to a friend, "I can't even remember the last time I felt like myself when I was with someone." That wasn't a casual comment. It was her soul slipping through. Men often misplay this moment. Some jump into problem-solving mode. Others take it as a direct invitation. Both miss the point. She's testing whether you're safe enough to hold her vulnerability. So here's how to navigate it. Do mirror back her feelings in simple, grounded language. A line like, "Sounds like what you miss most is the sense of safety," shows you heard her without hijacking her story. Don't rush to turn emotional disclosure into physical escalation. She doesn't need a repairman, she needs presence. Test softly. After she shares, Invite a calm activity, like a walk or coffee. If she continues opening up, her shift is intentional. When her words dig into loneliness, she's not filling silence. She's revealing an unspoken desire for closeness. Your chance is to prove you can be both grounded and empathetic. But beware, when hearts begin to open, another emotion often sneaks in. It's called quiet jealousy. Number 5, quiet jealousy. Not all jealousy screams. Sometimes it whispers. One of the strongest signs of her interest is how she reacts when you mention another woman. It won't be fireworks. It will be silence, a sudden shift of subject, or a playful jab that hides something sharper underneath. This isn't about control. It's about a potential connection she's afraid of losing. Mike experienced this at work. After weeks of noticing his colleagues' signals, he casually mentioned a new woman had joined their department. The shift was immediate. The colleague's smile froze. She interrupted with a joke. "Well, some people get all the luck." It sounded playful, but he caught the tension. Her withdrawal was louder than words. This is what quiet jealousy looks like. It's not a storm, it's a ripple. So what do? Stay steady. Your calm presence reassures her more than excuses ever could. Don't fan the flames to test her. That's a boy's game. And don't launch into long explanations. It only makes you look defensive. Test softly. Shift the focus from the other woman to your own values. Say, "What really matters to me is who I can actually trust with my time." If she relaxes, you've just seen how invested she is. This kind of jealousy is a quiet signal saying, "I wish I had that space in your life." Your strength lies in recognizing the undercurrent and responding with presence, not panic. Because here's the escalation. When quiet jealousy takes root, she often creates new opportunities to reclaim her place, which leads us directly to the 6th sign. Number 6, creating alone time. Sometimes the loudest invitation is the one she doesn't say directly. A woman interested in you will often create space for you and her to be alone. It's not about the activity, it's about the environment. She knows closeness happens when the noise dies down. Psychologically, this makes perfect sense. Privacy lowers barriers. An invitation to dinner at her place or a quiet walk isn't random. It's a deliberate attempt to shift the dynamic. Caroline, the single mom, showed this pattern clearly. After weeks of coffee meetups, she invited a man over for dinner. No big group, no distractions. The night was simple, but then came the moment of silence. They sat on the couch and the air felt charged. She didn't rush to fill it. That silence was louder than any invitation. This is where men misstep. Some assume it means guaranteed intimacy and rush in. Others freeze. Her creating alone time isn't a contract, it's an opportunity. So here's how to approach it. Enter the situation with the mindset of connection, not conquest. Appreciate the trust she's giving you. Don't carry entitlement. Alone time is not a green light to push boundaries. Test softly. Speak the unspoken. A line like, "I like this. It's easier to talk when it's just us," acknowledges the intimacy without pressuring her. If she leans in, you'll know the space she created is intentional. Her invitation is about possibility. The man who can hold that tension without forcing the outcome shows true strength. Because once you've crossed into her private space, the playful jokes and subtle touches often converge into one steady rhythm, constant flirting. And that brings us to the final sign. Number 7, constant flirting. There's flirting you can shrug off, and then there's flirting that becomes the backdrop of every conversation. It's a sustained signal that keeps the energy alive. It's her way of saying, "I'm here, I'm interested, but I want to see if you'll recognize it and lead." Mike, the engineer, experienced this. The banter between him and his colleague never stopped. Every time he made a remark, she twisted it into a playful tease. When he said he was tired, she shot back, "Or maybe you just need better company at night." She laughed. but her eyes told him she wasn't joking. What sealed it for Mike was realizing she didn't treat anyone else this way. That contrast was the proof. Constant flirting isn't random. It's a pattern directed at you. The danger is men either milk it endlessly, never acting, or they blow it up too fast. Both kill the connection. So how should you play it? Do acknowledge the pattern with confidence. A calm line like, "We always end up in this playful back and forth, don't we?" Lets her know you see it without killing the vibe. Don't drag it out forever. If you let it loop endlessly, she'll assume you're too passive. Test softly. Shift from teasing to transparency. Try, "If you're comfortable, I'd like us to spend some time just talking about what this is between us." If she leans in, you know the flirting was her way of paving that road. Constant flirting is a sustained test of your presence, your boldness, and your respect. Handle it with steadiness, and it can become the bridge to deeper connection. By now, you see the progression. The body gives it away. The humor sharpens. The touches linger. The conversations deepen. The jealousy stirs. The invitations appear. And finally, the flirting never stops. And here's the truth. Reading these signs only gets you halfway. The way you respond defines whether you rise as a man of clarity or shrink into another boy who missed the point. So now you've seen the 7 signs, from the body language to the playful jokes, the lingering touches, the deeper conversations, the quiet jealousy, the private invitations, and the constant flirting. But here's the reality check. These signs are not guarantees. They are not items on a checklist. They are glimpses into her inner world. Your job is not to pounce, but to understand. And that's the difference between a boy and a man. Boys chase, men observe, interpret, and respond with clarity. So here are the 3 rules that separate the men who get it from the boys who don't. Rule 1. Patterns, not moments. Stop obsessing over one long hug or a single provocative joke. On their own, they're just noise, but when repeated and clustered, they become a signal. Attraction reveals itself in consistency, not accidents. If you don't train your eyes to see the pattern, you'll forever misread the game. Rule 2. Verify with clarity. You don't need long speeches or clever lines. You need honesty delivered with composure. A simple sentence like, "I feel like there's something here. Am I reading this right?" carries more power than hours of guessing. That one line builds trust. It shows her you can handle the truth without flinching. That separates you from every man who hides behind games and uncertainty. Rule 3. Patience is power. When you're unsure, slowing down is your strongest move. Men lose respect by forcing what they can't control. But the man who can pause, breathe, and let the moment unfold naturally becomes the safest, most attractive option in the room. Impulsive boys rush. Grounded men hold the frame. Now, here's the deeper lesson. Strength isn't just spotting signals. It's how you respond after you see them. An immature man lets his impulses dictate the pace. He sees a hint and lunges. A grounded man lets his values lead. He doesn't exploit her openness. He protects it. He doesn't use her vulnerability as an opportunity. He treats it like something worth safeguarding. If you turn her signals into excuses to push faster, you will destroy the very safety that drew her in to begin with. You don't need to be right every time. You just need to refuse to act like a needy teenager. That's the line in the sand. A boy gets lost in guessing. A man leads with discipline. A boy reacts. A man responds with purpose. And that's the gap you need to close, because clarity is rare. It's the reason women remember the men who provide it and forget the ones who don't. So here's what I want you to do right now. If this video gave you something real, if it cut through the noise and gave you clarity, then subscribe to this channel. This is where men stop guessing and start leading. Drop a comment with the phrase, "I value clarity," and add your city. That tells me you're serious about building strength, not just consuming content. And share this with one friend who's still stuck in confusion. Sometimes one wake-up call is all it takes to change a man's direction. And remember this as we close. What matters most isn't what's spoken, but what's felt. If you can read what's underneath and respond with strength and respect, you don't just earn a woman's attention. You reclaim your clarity as a man.